All right, so my Pertronix electronic ignition came in. I've been having issues with this, the points burning up on this thing. The kit comes with this is the igniter. It's got two wires on it, a hot and a negative. It comes with the connectors, the little gapping tool, and then this here is the magnetic ring that goes onto the distributor cam, and it is what sends signal to this to fire. Another thing that I had to do, because these things require 12 volts. This is an older van with the resistor wire in it, so from the factory this van only has 6 volts to the positive side of the coil when it's running. So I ran another wire straight to a switchable fuse that's only on when the key is on. My fuse panel is down there, and I've got a 12 volt wire switchable that goes straight to the coil, so that I have 12 volts to this unit. Because some people say that it'll run on the lower voltage, but what it's going to do, it's going to fail early because it'll get hot with the lower voltage. So keep in mind, you definitely might have to replace this wire if you're working on an older application. So what I do is just pop off the distributor cap. There's 2 clips. Pull it off. Pull up the rotor button, and then I'm just going to take these 2 screws and take off this these points and this condenser. Alright, screws are loose, and then this will all just pull right out of there. Now this, I've got to disconnect this lead as well. That's the positive, or I'm sorry, the ground that comes out and goes to the coil. So disconnect that there, and then I'll feed that all out of there. And this new one comes with a grommet that'll go down in that hole right there to kind of seal it out from moisture and stuff. Alright, I gotta cut this lead off so that I can feed. And you've got to feed these wires. They go up underneath that plate. Pull them up and through, and then push them back down the hole, because you don't want the wires rubbing on this. There's a rod right there, the vacuum advance rod. You don't want to obstruct that. And also, when you're installing this, on the bottom you'll notice there's a little dowel right there. That'll make sure that that goes into that bottom screw hole, so that you've got a fulcrum and a solid mount. You'll hear it click in, and then there you go. And I pulled this thing off so that you can see it's shaped just like that cam, which is this thing. It looks like a bolt, but it's not. It's actually a cam. And it'll go right down on there. Push it securely into place all the way, and then now we're going to get this little gapping tool before we tighten this thing down. Stick it in between there and make sure we got a good gap. Alright, I put the eyelets on the end of those wires, which that's red and black wire. They come straight out of the unit down through the base. Got a grommet on there, and then black goes here, which will be replacing the old one. I can take that off, and then positive goes there, but I'll be keeping that one on. Alright, now I'll put the rotor button back on. She's on good. Everything's nice and tight. Distributor cap. There's a notch in it to make sure that it only goes on one way because that's important. And then there's a clip down on each side I'll have to put in with a screwdriver, quick and easy. Alright, now for the moment of truth. Gotta jump it off. And we are running. No misses. Alright, she's running okay. Let's try driving. See how she does. battery charged up a little bit. But she was sat there and idled fine for about 5 minutes while I was putting the doghouse back on and getting everything put up. But I'm just going to drive it around the block. That'll allow my battery to charge a little bit too. She seems to be doing fine. Okay, so she's running fine. But one other thing that's very important is that you want your resistance in your primary circuit that runs to your coil and to your Pertronix unit to be within spec. I got a 6-cylinder engine, so you want a minimum of 3 ohm to 5 ohms. It's a pretty good range. I've got the OEM coil in it right now. It's okay to drive around town, but I ordered a 3 ohm flamethrower coil from Pertronix. It'll be in a couple of days, and that'll get me within specs for longer drives. Basically, when you're running the lower ohms, it can cause it to maybe have some overheating issues on extended drives. But aside from that, she's running. I'm back on the road. I went ahead and replaced the battery because it was getting a little weak. I knew I was going to be needing a new one this year anyway. I knew it definitely wasn't going to make it to winter time, but I figured might as well go ahead and swap it out. So I got another big 900 cold cranking amp battery. But that's how you do a Pertronix swap on an older style points ignition. It's pretty simple. Just make sure that you run your primary wire direct if you got a ballast resistor or resistor wire, because that thing does require 12 volts to run properly. I've seen guys that will just do a direct swap. They won't swap the coil or that primary wire, and it'll still run, but you're just going to have a shorter life. You want to get it to within the factory specs. But I'll check in with you next time. We're going to Lake Erie soon.